I tracked my thoughts and improved my thinking for 31 days, and the results were insane. I've actually really been studying and putting in the work and researching how to have better mental habits for the past few months. Through this pretty long journey of studying and researching how to have better mental habits, I came across a problem that 100% of people deal with. Today I want to share with you that problem that you probably didn't even know you had, why it's important, and how to fix it. The problem is poor mental habits. Unwittingly, we don't even know we have poor mental habits because we don't really know what good mental habits are. I was FaceTiming my girlfriend the other day and we were on the phone talking about identity and self-image because I just finished reading Psycho-Cybernetics. She mentioned, kind of just as an offhand comment, that she just thinks about her failures. Those thoughts you have right before bed or maybe in the shower of like an awkward moment or an epic fail. I don't know why I'm doing this. It was such a big moment of realization for me because I'm like, shoot, I've struggled with this, she struggles with this, and everyone does struggle with this. And I never really took the time to think about that. It's almost part of the culture of like teenagers to call back to awkward moments or failures or weird encounters. Let me outline the problem for you. Let's just think logically about this. If the only input you give your brain are the thoughts about your failures and your bad moments, if that is the main input for your brain, what do you think is gonna happen? Your self-image will build around what you are literally seeing yourself to be. You are actively shaping what you believe to be true about yourself in your brain. And this problem actually spirals when you realize that these minuscule moments of thinking of these bad memories and bad thoughts about yourself shape your identity and the beliefs you have about yourself. Then your entire worldview, the entire lens in which you view the world, is tainted by self-limiting beliefs that you didn't even know you had. Once you see yourself to be a certain way, you work within the confines of the preconceived notion of what you see yourself to be. All of the time, you think about all of the times where you were lonely, to the point where you feel a little bit of emotion in you. You feel a little bitter, you feel a little sad. Then repeatedly, after surfacing these images in your mind of you being lonely, you see yourself as a lonely person. You literally in your mind see yourself as a lonely person. And then you act like a lonely person. You won't even talk to girls, you won't reach out to friends. Being consistent in your social life isn't something you can do because you won't let yourself. Another example is it's swimming upstream to break these bad habits, and I could teach you 30 different ways to swim upstream faster, but at the end of the day, you're still swimming upstream. You can't consistently eat healthy because all you ruminate on in your mind are the moments where you binge ate. And the moments like these where you feel shameful about a mess up, you replay in your mind. And what does your mind do with the only input it has? It gives you the only output that it could. You replay these moments of being unhealthy in your head, and then you start to see yourself as unhealthy. And then you can't consistently eat healthy because that's not who you see yourself to be. That's not who you are. What I'm trying to point out is I'm sure you can relate that there are random times where an awkward conversation just replays through your mind, or you relapsed into a particular bad habit and you're just thinking about that and thinking what you did wrong and how you did wrong. These are poor mental habits. And essentially, these poor mental habits lead to an identity issue. And my audience knows that I don't take identity issues lightly. If you guys want to know a little bit more about what I say when I mean an identity problem, or what I mean when I say identity at all, I made a video about that earlier this year. It's one of my best videos. Go check it out. I'll link it. It's part 1 in a 2-part series, part 2 coming probably early next year. But back to the problem at hand. You're in this boat with probably 99% of other people where you have bad mental habits. You repeatedly focus on the bad moments in your life, the mess ups you've done, which forges an identity that prohibits you from achieving the success you want or breaking the bad habits you want to break. As my audience knows, I don't like talking about problems if I can't offer some solution or some value to fix it. So I want to share with you what I've learned about bad mental habits and how you can fix them. First things first, if you couldn't guess it, stop thinking bad thoughts. It's like, oh, duh, Noah, stop thinking bad thoughts. Wow, super smart. Stop ruminating on them. My dad taught me a really good saying once, which is you can't stop the bird from flying through the tree, but you can stop it from making a nest. Sure, you might get bad thoughts that pop up. That doesn't mean you failed, but don't ruminate on them. Talk a little bit more about what are the good thoughts to think later. But it says in the Bible to think on what is good and what is noble. And now you don't have to be a Christian to see the practical applications for this. If you think about the bad moments or the mess ups or the failures in your head, you literally in your mind are seeing yourself do it over and over and over again. You actually repeatedly seeing yourself do something, which builds an identity of a person who fails. So I want you to do what Maxwell Maltz talks about in his book Psycho-Cybernetics, consciously forget. Anytime you fail, mess up, or sometime when you go wrong, think through it, take accountability, realize what went wrong and what you cannot do next time. Move on. There's absolutely no use in thinking about your past failures beyond the point of accountability. So, okay, mental real estate, you took out all the bad thoughts. What do you fill it up with? Good thoughts. Good and noble thoughts. What I mean by that is thinking about the good in life. Again, something Maxwell Maltz recommends is instead of reliving past failures, relive past successes. And what I want you to do is relive them to the point where you actually feel emotion over them. Because your nervous system can't tell the difference between vividly imagined images and real images. You think about the memories where you succeeded and then the excitements you have for the future, and you start to build a little bit of a different self-image. Because it's seeing you achieve in your head, you build a self-image that believes you can achieve. Eventually the line between the you and the you that you imagine blurs and disappears. And again, same thing for the future. Apart from negative visualization, which is visualizing and getting clear on what could be the absolute worst scenario, which is also a very good practice. We've seen Jordan Peterson talk about that. The Stoics talked about that for ages. There's no need to ruminate and feel worry on that negative visualization. But instead, after you've negatively visualized what the worst possible situation can be, you don't ruminate on that feeling. You imagine in vivid detail who you want to be and where you want to be in life to the point where you feel emotion. And then you ruminate on that emotion. There's actually a story from someone who used this method in psychocybernetics of only letting him think good thoughts. He did it for a month and he only let himself relive past successes or think about future successes. Not like success and just like money or whatever, but just like achievement, feeling good, those good moments in your life, those good, happy, laughing memories. And I quote, his only regret in this process was not going far enough with thinking positively. And after hearing about that story, and even before when Hamza recommended it, something I still occasionally do, I started to track my thoughts. Each thought counted was one where I focused on the good and the stackable small wins. One more thing before I end this video. My audience knows I've struggled with things in the past. I know how it feels to relapse and stumble and fail again and again and again, and I'm still doing it. But I used to almost feel a responsibility to be shameful for my failures. I acted as if I should be dwelling because that's what I deserved for failing and relapsing and messing up in my life. And it sounds understandable to say that it would be naive to not think about your failures at all. I'm not Jesus or Aristotle or Jaden Smith. But after a lot of praying and reading and thinking, I think I came to the conclusion that it takes a stronger character to pick your head up and move forward after you fail than to sit and dwell and feel shameful. Sure, it's okay to feel bad about if you failed, but it's easier and lazier to let that consume you. Pick yourself up. Your problems aren't cosmic tragedies. You just messed up. It takes real character to move forward and not dwell in that shame. Sulking is slavery behavior. You don't have a responsibility to feel bad. Most virtues are actions that you do in spite of not feeling good. Courage is not the man who never feels afraid, but the man who runs into battle despite being afraid. Patience is not the man who never wants things to move quicker, but the man who doesn't rush in spite of things moving slower. Discipline is not the man who never wants to procrastinate, but the man who does the hard work in spite of wanting to relax. It takes real character to pick your head up and move forward in spite of your shame. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. That's something I've dealt with for a long time, and it's just something I've started to understand. Okay, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did like it and want to see more stuff like this from me, it'd really help out the channel and kind of make my day if you subscribe. I hope you have the bestest of days, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.